Hello, my name is Laura Ladin and I am a training specialist. I am here today to expand your knowledge and how to help you become efficient managers of your employees. Today I will discuss with you the theories of learning, the importance of understanding diversity in the work center, behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, humanism, and how these will apply to your 5 candidate directors in your company. And lastly, I will summarize what we went over today. Learning requires the resolution of conflicts between dialectically opposed modes of adaptation to the world. Conflict, differences, and disagreement are what drive the learning process. In the process of learning, one is called upon to move back and forth between opposing modes of reflection and action and feeling and thinking. Learning is a holistic process of adaptation to the world, not just the result of cognition. Learning involves the integrated functioning of the total person, thinking, feeling, perceiving, and behaving. Learning results from synergistic transactions between the person and the environment. In Piaget's terms, learning occurs through equilibration of the dialectic processes of assimilating new experiences. All in all, learning is the process of creating knowledge. As managers, it is imperative for you to understand and know diversity first and foremost. Employees' cultural and generational backgrounds influence how they see the world. Disciplinary backgrounds lead learners to approach problems in different ways, and with prior knowledge, both accurate and inaccurate aspects of the job, schemas shape new learning. Being able to understand diversity in your work center, it would prevent us from drawing to conclusions and skipping critical steps needed to effectively identify and break down steps, modeling processes in detail, and explicitly communicate the knowledge and skills necessary for your employees to be productive while meeting the demands of this ever-growing company. Theories of learning. Behaviorism comes with repetition. There is reinforcement, feedback, association, classical, and operant conditioning. With behaviorism, as described by B.F. Skinner, he sees that the functioning of an organism consists of its interacting or having commerce with its surroundings, environmental circumstances. So take for example, when training Jane for the use of the behaviorism theory, it is appropriate. She takes her job seriously and is very professional. I urge you to understand her very positive efficacy about her abilities. Although she may forget names, it is good to use that repetition with her, as it will help her remember the names better. Now, working with Jane, giving her feedback through positive reinforcement will actually help her to be less apprehensive to change. Again, we need to be aware of her multiple intelligences of being linguistic. So Jane is very talented, and assimilation is the appropriate use for her. Next we have cognitivism, which is assimilation, accommodation, the information processing model, and intellectual stimulation. Take for example, with cognitivism, it is known as the theoretical approach to understanding the mind, which argues that mental function and how it can comprehend through the quantitative positivist and scientific methods, and that such functions can be described as the processing of information. So from a metaphorical standpoint, if you look at the mind as a computer, information is taken in, it's processed, and then leads to a variety of outcome-based responses. So let's take, for example, our next candidate, Jimmy. He is a very detail-oriented individual, and his expertise in the safety section is paramount to the company's success. So he is in high demand for logical, sequential, analytical, and rational, and very objective thinking. But because he has low self efficacy and tends to be helpless at times, I think by getting to know Jimmy and understanding why he has stepped down, it will be pivotal to helping him relate and be the best employee that he can be. So, through the theory of humanism, by motivating him to press through his health issues and expressing his concerns and needs through communication, Jimmy will start to have confidence once more, giving him a sense of self-worth and not focus on the negative. By applying the theory of repetition, it is good for positive reinforcement through this association. Communicating through the multiple intelligences is also a very highly recognized attribute of Jimmy's. Additionally, it is very important of being aware of how changes are being implemented. With this particular employee, you need to be able to present it in a logical, rational, and objective manner in which it would help him to become part of the change. Furthermore, in this scenario, I would really highly recommend that you allow him to develop different ways to implement change in relation to the job, since he likes taking ideas and will be able to filter them throughout the workplace. Next is the constructivism theory, which is scaffolding, metacognition, problem solving, and inquiry-based learning. Scaffolding is a technique in learning where the prior knowledge is activated to build upon the learning of new information, but a continuation. So in your company, we have Jackass, who is very creative, not very detailed, but she likes to think outside the box and does not even have a problem learning in any way. So with her experience of 20 years in international sales, strong expertise is in data-driven, long-term planning, and very experienced. Basically, her strong point is being self-taught and can amplify your program of training others in a new position. So when we consider scaffolding, she can build upon on the working programs and assist others to tweak minor areas of creativity in the department. Humanism is yet another theory that can be applied to the psychology of learning in the work center. Humanism is well suited for the diverse communities and work centers. It is third in line with what is meant to be more positive and brought about the concepts of individuality, creativity, and self-actualization. With our applicant or director, Jody, she's a perfect candidate to apply the theory of humanism. She finds joy in working at the community theater and prefers to learn through watching videos and listening to tapes. She is a prime mogul at verbalizing herself through communications in a group. Because of her multiple intelligences of linguistic and interpersonal, she can best be used to share information amongst the staff, since that is her strong communication point. Lastly, we have John, who is a superior professional, and he is superb at providing clients with outstanding leadership during critical transition phases, including hiring professional and technical staff. With his multiple intelligences of being versed in interpersonal, we may see him, or some may see him, as a slacker just because he is using an iPod frequently. At the same time, it is a good idea to apply the theory of humanism by motivating him to understand how his actions can be perceived differently by others. Though he possessed these qualities that are needed by the company, his drive is of course viewed in a negative manner by others. So by careful coaching and positive reinforcement through feedback, he will mature into the company. By showing John how to work on having patience to follow through with projects and even work with groups, he can understand how to motivate them and stay actively involved through the end. Generally, I highly encourage that companies have icebreakers to enable everyone to get to know each other. The theory of humanism is highly encouraged. It would be a great start to motivating employees in general. Including a vision and goal statement at this time allows employees to understand a sense of direction and self-worth within the organization. Additionally, recommending a form of reward to successful behaviors in your company is a form of positive reinforcement, and this may be given both quantitatively and qualitatively. So by personally appealing to yourselves with the emotional intelligences, it allows you to understand your employees' needs and to have a great way to gain trust and teamwork within the organization. As an effective manager in your work center, applying the principles of learning to a diverse crowd is very important when meeting the learner's needs. The key is to effectively understand the theories of learning and to understand the learning needs of your directors. As a manager, being able to create a welcoming professional climate within the work center, success will be paramount. So today what I have discussed with you on this training module are the theories of learning. We spoke about behaviorism, we spoke about cognitivism, constructivism, humanism. We also talked about the importance of understanding diversity in the work center and how it relates to your directors. In conclusion, without the proper understanding and evaluating of the theories of learning and principles, your company can potentially end up bankrupt if you are not able to properly attend to the learning needs and differences of your employees. Thank you for your time, and I do trust and hope that you consider this module for the new training in your company.